Lazy Burrow here, and we are here to look at some toys, collectibles, stuff I found at the swap meets, yard sales for the weekend of October 6th, 2019. Okay, let's get into it. Let's go with some books first. How about that right there? We are looking at, this is a Stan Lee book, and you know, there's some other writers there, but Stan Lee is the marketable name. But this is a book that was written way later on in his writing career, and it's a Disney property. It's called The Zodiac Legacy, and it's a scholastic reading, so you know, it's a cool young adult novel, and you know, some superhero stuff from the master. So cool. There's a find. And then books. That is not even the thickest book I got. Look at this thickie right here. Edgar Allan Poe, Complete Tales and Poems. This thing is all right. Features more than 130 short stories and poems by Edgar Allan Poe. I mean, that's pretty sweet. I mean, look at that. Really cool cover. All right. And since we're talking about books, I guess we can talk about comic books. Oh, let's see. Can never have enough. Death of Superman. This is it. 1992. Superman #5. This was the second series of a comic book title called Superman, the post-crisis series. And in 1992, issue number 75 really set the world on fire, man. Speculators were out. People thought they were going to retire off of Death of Superman. It did appreciate in value. It's definitely more than cover price, but don't quit your day jobs. We still have to work. Superman didn't take care of us all. But a classic from the 90s era of comic books. And they printed this in like a black, had a black like sealed bag with the bleeding, dripping Superman logo in red. And I think it had like the black band that you wore around your arm to signify, mourning for Superman. I think it had some other stuff too, like a poster, like a grave tombstone poster, of Superman's headstone. So, okay, that was comic number 1. Comic number 2 that I got at the swap meet this morning was Marvel Comics Star Wars, the first Star Wars comic book series that started, right after the first movie, like in 1977, 1978. And then it ran, the first 6 issues, I think, were the adaptation of Star Wars, and then it was all kind of original stories. They did an adaptation of Empire somewhere in the series, like I think in the 40s or something like that. And then by issue 74 here, I think we might be post Return of the Jedi. I know, like, maybe it might have been like the 80s. They started telling green lightsaber Luke stories. So, but yeah, this is Marvel Comics Star Wars number 74. And this one is from, it looks like 1983. Cool. Alright, there is the book portion. Let's get into some cheap toys. Alright. So here's the cheapies. These are the ones I get from the cheap tables. These are like 20... Paige is asleep. Awesome. Penelope, daughter number 1, is coming to report to me that daughter number 2 has fallen asleep for her nap. That is awesome. Cool. Thank you for the report, Penelope. You want to come in and hang out for the video? Yeah. Okay. Alright, so here are the cheap toys. It's okay. You got to be quiet, though, if we're going to do the video. Unless you want to come and play with some toys. You can come play with these toys and help me do some commentary. Here is number 1. It is the Dragon Zord. And this isn't like the one from 1994, the original one. This one is I think like kind of the kids, not the play school version, but like the Imaginext version kind of, I guess. There we go. Still works too. Okay, so here you go. You want to play with the Dragon Dagger? Yeah? Remember, press that gray thing and it'll make noise. The gray thing. Alright, here's some other stuff from the cheap toys. That's a Hobbit. There's a Toy Biz Hobbit. That is, what's his name that played the Hobbit? Elijah Wood? Is that his name? Cool. Cool little Hobbit toy. I don't know who this is. He's from, I think he's from Yu-Gi-Oh? Yu-Gi-Oh? I think he's from the Yu-Gi-Oh card games and stuff. But he's a cool, like, weird jester. And he's got a hole in his torso, so. But, you know, when you raid the cheap tables, when these things are like a quarter or less, then, you know, you can get whatever you want, including a Batman without a cape. But he's got a cool little green variant there. These are some cool figures to add to like the Elebrins. And this thing, same thing. I'm not real sure what he's from. But I think it's that Yu-Gi-Oh card game. I think he's a figure from that. Someone will correct me if I'm wrong. And these are those mashups that came out a couple of years ago. They did them in Star Wars, they did them in Transformers, they did them with the Marvel characters. And, you know, basically you could change out quads, lower legs, you know, torso, upper arm, forearm and hand, and then different heads. And then, of course, you had all the accessories, helmets, weapons, add-ons that you could plug into the backs, you know, and these little pegs and stuff like that. These little pegs in the side of the arm, you know, could support huge add-ons that go the length of the arm. These are pretty cool toys. So these are the things that it's like, you know, they're not broken. You just got a few pieces of an Iron Man. He's just not complete. So anytime I come across these little pieces, I go ahead and pick them up because, you know, you can always mash them together with the big one, with other pieces that I have, and then create whole figures. You know, it's a fun little project to do while we're, you know, while we're doing this weekly and almost daily toy hunting. It's like, hey, I need a little project for myself, just a little side project for collecting. So this is one of my little side projects. It's I get these mashup guys just to see what kind of combinations we can make with paired with some of the others. All right. What else we got from the cheap table? Oh, there you go. There's an Imaginext Batman. And that one's cool. It's like the Batman Returns outfit almost. Really cool. I mean, they make a billion different types of, you know, Batman Imaginext, but I'm not sure if I have this like Batman Returns style here. So that's cool. I'll have to check on that. That one might have to stay with me. Here you go. Here's a Rhino. Spider-Man villain, the Rhino. Toy Biz. This is Toy Biz from the early to mid 90s. I'm like, what is he supposed to do? I'm hitting this thing on his back, and he's just kind of doing this head bobbing thing. So, okay, cool. Not the coolest action figure I've ever seen, but he's not the worst action figure I've ever seen either. So, there you go. It's cool. This one is from the She-Ra line, the Princess of Power line, based on in the early 80s, based on Mattel's success with He-Man. They went ahead and made the a version for girls called She-Ra, and this thing sold pretty well too. Cartoon went pretty well. So this is like 1984, and I forget which character this is. I should have researched that. But that hair is wild, man. That hair's big. So I don't know. We'll have to see what accessories she came with. But that's a cool one. Cool vintage figure. Now here's another vintage classic. That is Raphael. The OG Raphael. He's not a soft shell. And I mean, this figure has been reproduced a bunch. So not saying that this figure is the actual 1988 version. But he's just from the original line in that style. You know. Anytime I see those guys for under $1, I'll pick them up. And, sweet. This is a cool one. 1992. The Genie from Aladdin, voiced by Robin Williams. That is awesome. Oh, another one here from the cheap table. That is, I think that's a pirate from the Pirates of the Caribbean. I don't exactly know what line that's from. Probably something that came with like a big ship, like the pirate ship was the main, you know, component of the toy, and then this is just one of the minifigures that goes with it. It's not a mega block or anything like that. But yeah, I think that's from Pirates of the Caribbean. Anyways, pretty cool. It's like a ghost pirate figure, man. What's nothing wrong with that. And then this was something for my youngest Paige. This is Abby, the fairy from Sesame Street. And that one will probably never see the sales floor because that one's going to my youngest Paige. Okay, oh, and by the way, the box that I was holding those cheap toys on also contains a goodie. This is Front Porch Classics baseball pinball style. It's a pinball machine. It's like a mini tabletop pinball machine, but it's like old school baseball. And apparently this was 2005's top toy of the year award. So the award-winning tabletop pinball baseball game. And just to give you guys a closer look at that, this thing is sweet. I'm going to make a video just playing this thing by itself, because this is awesome, and it's kind of a cool, like, just pass the time game, and it can become really addicting if you really want to get into it. But, you know, got the little mini pinballs there. We have one bumper there. We have one right-handed batter. Oh, that's a strike. That's a strike. So, okay, you know, before anyone sees me strike out, we'll just call it right there. But this is a pretty sweet pinball game. You got out positions there. Basically, you got triple, double, single, and hit a home run. You know, you got that little hole right there. You got to go up the ramp to hit the home run. And it's pretty cool, man. It's got that cool wood, old school look to it. You know, not affiliated with Major League Baseball. Not affiliated with any team or players or anything like that. Just a cool Americana look to it. All the pieces are made out of wood there. But yeah, this was a cool little piece. Like I say, I took it out of the package just to see if it had all the pieces. Ended up playing it a little bit. Once you kind of get into the rhythm of it, it could actually be a really fun game. And it's something you could actually sit there with your buddy and, you know, you literally play the out, switch off innings. And it can be kind of fun. So, same thing. This one actually is not going to see the sales floor. At least not for a while, because it's going to be in my game room on a countertop so that we can play with it. And then once I get my use out of it, maybe I'll pass it along. Alright. Oh, what else we got? Here we go. What's this? Raphael? Here's a couple of plush Ninja Turtles. And these are cool. These are a little bit better quality than, like, you know, there's the plush toys that they have in, like, the claw machines at Walmart. But these are actually a little bit, like, higher quality than that. But I don't quite know what year they're from. It's not first run, like, animated style. They have the brown wristbands and elbow pads and knee pads. So that brown for the accessories really came into, I think it was the first movie, you know, like the 1990 movie is when those brown look came into effect. But I don't think those are that. There was the 2003 Ninja Turtle cartoon series also had this look, so I think they're from that era. I can't tell. There's no date on the tags here, so, you know, whatever. But yeah, Donatello and Raphael. A couple of plush Ninja Turtles there. And if you watch the my toy hunting collectible videos, you know I always pick up at least one VHS just for, I don't know, nostalgia purposes. But this one is cool. This one's sweet. This is a Francis Ford Coppola horror movie called Dementia 13. Look at that cover, man. How awesome is that? (1987) is when this video was made. I don't know when the actual movie was made. 1963. So this movie is from 1963. Yeah, so some old school classic horror in some 1987 vintage VHS packaging. So really, really cool. Here's some stuff for the Antique Mall spot. I got a couple of tins here. This is a Cracker Jack tin from 1980, and it's a reproduction of like the 1900 promotional artwork there for Cracker Jack. So just a cool little piece of Americana. Like I say, it's a tin. So, and this was from 1980. And that's not the only tin I got. We also got the Uncle Ben's rice. Uncle Ben's converted rice. And there's a rice tin from 1985. So yeah. There are a couple of things that'll go out to the Antique Mall spot. Alright. Here's a little something I picked up just this morning. All the stuff I'm showing you either came from yard sales yesterday morning or from my swap meet finds today. Just 2 hours ago. And look at that. These are G.I. Joe Real American Hero trading cards. From what, 1990 maybe? 1991? I think this was Impel that makes these, which was the same company that made the first few years of the Marvel trading cards that everybody loves so much from their childhood. Marvel Series 1, 2. And the first X-Men series, I think. And then they were officially branded as Skybox Fleer for the rest of the 90s. But yeah, look at that. G.I. Joe. And I think it's a full box. I have to count. There's definitely more than 30 packs there. I don't know if there's the full 36. It didn't have the cellophane on it, but I went ahead and just bought the whole box. So this is a cool thing. I'm not a huge G.I. Joe fan. I recognize, you know, how important that property is to, you know, the toy community as a whole, but you know, not my personal favorite, so this is definitely something that I can pass along to another collector to help me fund stuff that will stay in my personal collection. These are cool because I can always take these to a convention and kind of just sell these for, you know, $1 a piece. Tried to do that. I had a box of Power Ranger cards. It was Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Series 2 trading cards. And I had a whole sealed box that I took to the latest convention I sold at, Bakersfield Collector Con. And I was going to pop the top just like this and sell them for like $1 a piece. But as I was setting up my booth, before I could, you know, open them up and display them, you know, like this, pack ready display, a guy came and just bought the whole box from me. So, you know, there's always a chance. I always like these cards because it's kind of like, oh, cool, here's something cheap for like kids to buy, you know. A lot of times you have a mother or a family that's got, you know, they got 4 kids, 5 kids, and it's like, you know, they all want a souvenir from the convention, but you can't spend $20 a figure for each member of the family sometimes. So stuff like this is cool if you do like dollar packs, and then it kind of introduces kids to G.I. Joe characters, and you know, you might create new fans that way, new generation of fans. So I always like stuff like this at the convention. These cards from the early 90s, both G.I. Joe, Marvel, they were really awesome for introducing new characters to people. These really played a huge part, you know, in creating lifelong fans, these cards. Because like I say, the backs of the cards has stat sheets, it has origin stories, you know, it really gave you all you needed to know about a character. And then if you just like the look of the character, boom, you could be a fan instantly just by flipping through a card. So, alright, that was a really, really fun find this morning. Here's a cool one. Like I say, I got the antique mall spot, so I'm always trying to look for just weird, odd, collectible, old stuff. And this is the tabletop desktop calendar. And like I say, you can turn the dials, change the dates there. I went ahead and with Friday the 13th in October because, you know, I figure that's a pretty creepy date. Yeah, you can turn this dial to change the day there. If you want to change it from Friday to like Thursday, there you go. Saturday. So no day will escape you, really. And likewise, it has all the months there. So this is just a cool Park Sherman company. Was a company that made you know, cool kind of office stuff like this for people's office. This was kind of a popular thing back in the day. So, you know, figure that'll be something that'll look good at the antique mall spot. All right, let's get into some of the other figs. Look at that thing right there. This came from the swap meet this morning. This is Goldberg. And it's a weird Goldberg, man. Look at this thing. It's he's got a plastic body, right? But then he's got these plush legs. It's so weird. And it is there's the official license seal of WCW there. So this was an official WCW licensed product from 1999. They had a big marketing push that year. A lot of merchandise came out in 98, 99, and then not a lot of stuff came out after that. I mean, that company kind of folded. Their parent company, AOL Time Warner, sold them to Vince McMahon's WWE in early 2001. Okay, so weird little Goldberg there. Some other wrestling figures I picked up. I think it's the Ultimate Warrior. I think this is like 1992 era when he came back with like shorter hair. And he wore a singlet for some reason. I don't know. Maybe he didn't want to do his ab work. There you go. Cool little Ultimate Warrior figure. Mattel Elite WWE. There's another Elite. There's the Lord of Darkness Undertaker. I don't know if this... I don't think this is the defining moments, like the Batman Undertaker, as it's known. I don't know if that's this one. I have to do a little research, but that is definitely Attitude Era 1999 Undertaker. Alright, and then here we go. Here's a early 90s Ric Flair. found another cool figure I picked up at the swap. This is that beefy Marvel Select Thanos. Not a very rare figure. Like, this was very heavily produced. The first run of this figure is kind of sought after, but they've been reprinting this figure for years, especially recently with Thanos being the #1 movie star in the country, in the world actually, for the last 2 years. So this is Diamond Distribution's Marvel Select Thanos. So cool little figure. Picked him up super cheap, so I'll be able to sell him super cheap. I of course have one already in my collection, so I can pass this one along. All right. Man, I think that is it. That is it for right now, I should say, because I am going to come at you a little bit later on today, in between football games, with another video. And this video is going to be stuff I picked up from the antique mall that I actually have a spot at. I'm part of Downtown Toys and Comics, an antique mall on the corner of 19th and L Street. The entire antique mall is comic book, toy, collectible vendors. And it's cool to, you know, not only do I sell there, but, you know, I am a frequent shopper. So not only does the toy hunting that I do every week, you know, and then we bring it to the shop, but then everybody else who's a vendor there kind of does their own toy and collectible hunting, and they bring stuff also. So some vendors that I really like over there. Coach, shout out to Coach's Corner, and some of the other guys there. Shout out to the Hunted, Big Chuck, and you know, shout out to Nick. There's a lot of vendors there. David Sandals, you know, there's a lot of cool vendors there that I like to buy from. So I will bring you another video of some of the stuff that I picked up from my personal collection this week. You know, some of the money I make off of my adventures in toy hunting, I'm able to take that and kind of reward some of the other vendors for their hard work in toy hunting. And, you know, it's a win-win. It pads out my collection, it keeps those guys doing what they do, and you know, and we can all be happy. So I will come at you in just a couple of hours with another video of some gems from my personal collection. Alright, I'll see you guys. Peace, Lazyburrow. Like, subscribe, comment, blah blah blah, and you know, keep playing with toys.